That one group that I sent should be playing in the group.
Yeah, but it won't be because you have to approve it. I have to approve it.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
So you put it in?
Yeah, I can do it again. Hang on.
Yeah, no, I'm going to add it now. One sec. No.
Here, I can send it.
Yeah, it's not here.
Here, I'll do it. Hang on.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
I'm going to do it right now. Let me find it. The event is happening. Okay, I just sent it. There we go. I'm going to do it right now. Let me find it. Okay. So we've got sound.
Okay, I'm just going to go into the group. Still hasn't come in. Oh, here it is. Yep, got it. Yep. Okay, right. Brilliant. Right, wonderful. So I'll just close all these boxes then.
You're good. Hello. Let's see who we got here. Got some new faces. Allison Robertson, Man Farmer, Cindy Kempsky's in here, Elfie Shantz. All right, we get a little crowd in here. We got about 30 people in the house.
Very cool.
Let's formally roll the show out. There's some new face. There's some new faces there. I'll introduce myself. My name's Todd Medina. This is the Soulology Network. This is our primary show called Soul Speaks 5D. It's a conversation with Jen Mccarty, the divine goddess that stayed after me. That's the way it works, though. You got to make it happen. Everyone's got to make it happen. But yeah, it's an honor to collaborate with you today. You've got a group called The Event is Happening. And also, just looking at your bio, I mean, let me just read this. Let's see here. Jen Mccarty is a leading luminary in the ascension and twin flame community. Teaches and guides, pioneering and leading change makers in the spiritual community. Jen experienced a life-changing Kundalini awakened at age 21 in the Himalayas in northern India, chanting the mantra Om Namah Shivaya. From that moment, she passed over the threshold from 3D consciousness, stabilizing into fifth dimensional consciousness. She's now 43, has devoted her whole adult life to the spiritual awakening path. Right on. So you set up a Facebook, says here, you set up a Facebook group. The event is happening, which has got 57,000 members in a very short time. Yeah. It's an extremely powerful forum that is helping many, many souls fully awaken to their divine heritage and galactic responsibilities. Excellent. Very, very good. So you're like you're like a encyclopedia of ascension.
I'm a bit of an oracle.
Yeah. And so you had this happen at 21. Did you have any awareness to your skills and abilities when you were young?
I was always like a very highly adept human being. Like I learned to read fluently when I was 3, and I could speak and I could read. I was reading like big thick books when I went to school, and I was always like top of the class and everything. So I definitely came in as a highly adept being. I was very, very intelligent person, really, but I was very logical, much more on the logical side. The mathematical side of my brain was very developed. And then I started showing an interest in spirituality at about age 15, and I got really interested in astrology, and got really, really interested in astrology. And then that brought me on the journey of learning about angels and about meditation. So before I went to India, I was meditating, and I had contact with my guardian angels, but it was a very sort of 3D contact. Like it wasn't like a direct experience. It was just kind of like sort of, just going for it and sort of having faith. But it wasn't until I had my spiritual awakening that, that I actually directly experienced like love and eternity and timelessness and infinity. Like prior to that experience, they were just like two-dimensional words. They weren't really, I didn't really understand what love was or what you know, what God was. I definitely had no clue whatsoever about God, because I'd come from a Catholic upbringing, and I very much rebelled against the Catholic idea of God. So I was always been a really very, very rebellious spirit. So yeah, I was very surprised to have that spiritual awakening experience. Was it was a shock in a way, but now I know that, you know, I signed up for that, because obviously, like, some beings have to be stabilized in this turning of this great cycle. Like, someone's got to be fully stabilized in God consciousness.
That's the one society calls crazy.
Yeah, that's right.
But we're not crazy. We're not crazy anymore. No. Now you say you're specializing in ascension and twin flame. When did the twin flame stuff start coming to you? Is that something that you feel like you were, you're kind of part of your mission is to explain the twin flame part of it? Is you were receiving transmissions?
Yeah, I do. So I came from a sort of Catholic upbringing, and so I didn't really know anything about Mary Magdalene or anything like that. But the day after I had my spiritual awakening, it was like my crown just completely opened, and I just started receiving like torrents and torrents of downloads. And a lot of those downloads were about Mary Magdalene and about her relationship with Jesus Christ, with Yeshua. And they were showing me, like, my spirit team, the angels, whatever you want to call them, they were like showing me their timeline of like who Mary Magdalene was, that she was born and she was initiated as a very sort of like high level tantrika from a very young age. She was sent to the temple. She was trained in sacred sexuality from a very, very young age. She always knew that she had a mission to like bring divine love back to the earth consciousness. And my spirit team showed me how when her and Yeshua met, it was actually her that activated his Kundalini awakening, and he became the master teacher that he is due to their connection and what she catalyzed within him. I did not have a clue about this. This was all came from a very deep and very direct knowing and experience of their union. So I was told, my spirit team told me that they were twin souls. They're like the original twin souls, like Shiva Shakti, Radha Krishna, and, you know, throughout all of the sort of like scriptures that you can sort of find it. But so from the beginning of my spiritual awakening, I was receiving downloads, like very, very powerful downloads about the twin soul template, and the realization that it is in that vibration of unconditional love that is experienced between the genuine bona fide counterparts, which is the key to shift from a 3D to a 5D consciousness. That is what they showed me, that the potency of that love, of that union, was exactly the vibrational medicine that Gaia needs to ascend. So
yeah, that's fascinating. I was shared space with Judith Cassell yesterday.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, and she talked about that. She went to France and did some work, and I can't tell the story accurately, but what she was saying is, because she received downloads, obviously, in the same subject and the same essence, and that Mary Magdalene was basically a master before she even met Jesus, that
Absolutely.
the word Mary wasn't really a name. Mary was a title.
Yes.
And so she was in training, the mystery school training and all that stuff.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So that was fascinating. She was talking about that yesterday.
Yeah. So there's an alignment between me and Judith, definitely, in the messages that we receive. Yeah.
So now, as far as like the ascension stuff, just like knowing what was going on, I know that divine union energy is related to that. Like you said, that's the energy or the frequency that we need to get to, or whatever, how you want to put it. But now, as far as how long did it take you to figure out what was going on? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, well, like for myself, so what happened was I got to India and I was guided up to the high up into the Himalayas. And when I got high up to the Himalayas, this little Italian woman, she kind of like, she found me in the group and she just came right over to me and she was like, you must chant Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. And she completely ignored everyone in the group, but she was so adamant that I had to chant this mantra. So I was like, oh my God, okay, I'll do it, you know. So I just basically chanted this mantra about 20,000 times that day. And we climbed up to the top of this mountain and I was like, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. And then I looked up, and then as I was chanting it, I saw this massive light just appear in the sky, and it just blasted open my third eye. I didn't even know I had a third eye really at that point, but before I knew it, my third eye was just like blasted open, and I saw the presence of God absolutely everywhere. And I knew for a fact it was God because I hated the word God. I was like allergic to the word God, but I was like, this is God. God is not some man in the sky. God is like the pure creative energy of love. You know, that is the beginning and the end and everything in the middle. And I realized that who I am as an eternal soul being, that my consciousness was created from pure love, and that ultimately it would return to absolute pure love. And my job and role in this lifetime is to be in that vibration of absolute pure love. So in that moment, it was like I before that experience, I genuinely perceived myself to be a separate drop of water, and I didn't feel safe in the world, and I definitely didn't feel like I belonged. But in that moment when my third eye opened, it was like the drop of singular water just returned back to the ocean of divine consciousness, and to the realization of like, I am the ocean of consciousness, and you are everyone, like, oh my God, like we are all the ocean of divine consciousness. Right. And it was quickly the realization that like no one knew that. I was in a way, I sort of became like an elder, like a planetary elder, because no one knew. I suddenly like had access to this vast storehouses of spiritual knowledge and wisdom, and it was a very, very lonely place in 1995. Like with no one was really like spiritually awakened, but so, and then what catalyzed from there was just like many downloads about the nature of reality and understanding about love and creation and infinity and eternity, and I just went into a very, very high level state of bliss. And the funny thing is, it's like people do have these Kundalini awakenings, but a lot of these people, they end up going into psychosis. But I never ever went into any sort of psychosis whatsoever. And I think that's got something to do with my destiny, and I think it's also got something to do with my birth chart, like that I have like many earthy signs in my chart. So I never ever once questioned my sanity, even though I was like operating in a completely different paradigm to every single person that I met from that point. Yeah, I was lucky. Yeah, I was really lucky.
Yeah. Most people.
Yeah, they do. I do. I have this, but that's one of my speciality skills, is like working with people in psychosis, because I can really, really help like bring them back, and I do, and I have done. I've brought many people out of psychosis just because I'm in that multidimensionally awakened realm, but my feet are completely and utterly on the ground, and I'm absolutely 100% anchored in love. And so when you're anchored in love, there's like, fear is not reality. Like fear doesn't even exist. It doesn't even register in the environment of pure love. So because of my stabilized frequency, I'm able to bring people back. Yeah.
So how do you do that? Would you call that energy work?
No, I just through being with me, and I get it. I get them. I get what they're talking about. They're talking about the fairies, or they're talking about like the mystical realms or the ninth dimension. Like I get it. I just get it. And just because I don't question it, or I'm always validating, I'm deeply validating, and I'm very, very on the ball. And so if I'm hanging out with someone in psychosis and then they start bringing a lot of fear energy, I'm not going to tolerate that fear energy. I'm just going to like nip it in the bud and help them, like bring them back to love, you know. And it's all about like, and for myself, what happened, it was like I sort of came to the responsibility of being like an embodiment of the Divine Mother, and so when I meet whoever I meet, whether you're in psychosis or not, I'm always bringing that really deeply nurturing energy of the Divine Mother, and that's very healing and very soothing for many people. They feel safe, and which helps them come home.
Yeah, I know a lot of divine feminines, you know, around the world that carry that energy. It's like y'all are anchoring that energy. Y'all came in early to anchor that energy and bring that energy in, and now you're starting to see it. It's becoming more and more apparent now, and that's a good thing. because I think it's starting to have a substantial effect on the masculine energy,
Definitely.
which is, in turn finding that innocence and clearing up all that crap, and and stepping into their real power. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Cool.
the realization that the divine masculine also has the divine feminine within you. Like, you have the mother energies within you, and your little boy needs that motherly energy from within you. Like, you need to nurture your own little boy and speak kindly and speak gently and speak lovingly and validate him. So, and I think that that's going to be like such a big part of the spiritual revolution, is where the divine masculine reclaimed his divine feminine. And I actually had this vision of like a big sort of like rally or a big march with loads of men holding placards saying, "I am she, I am she." Yeah.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Now, with your knowledge on the twin flames,
yeah,
a lot of people struggle, or we've seen the struggle of from the human consciousness, people trying to understand that the twin flame label or connotation has taken a lot of beatings. But you understand it from the Magdalene essence in the transmissions you receive, so you understand what it is. How does a person, I don't know, how do people know when they, what the twin flame is? What is the twin flame? I mean, people talk about flames that are on the path that, like mirrors to help you see yourself until you find that one. Can you give us a little backdrop on that? I mean,
I mean, like, there is this phenomena called twin flames, and there are many people that believe they have met their twin flames, but actually it isn't their twin flame. It's a catalyst twin, or it's a soulmate. And so I've actually I use the word twin soul to describe the actual genuine vibrational counterpart, which is still quite rare on this earth for people to have met their identical vibrational counterpart. But there is this phenomena called twin flame, where people, particularly on the spiritual path, will meet someone and have loads and loads of synchronicities and loads of signs and be like, they're my twin flame, they're my twin flame. But a lot of these relationships are fraught with attachment and neediness and codependency, and really the role of the catalyst twins and the soulmates is to assist in the cleansing and the purging of your system, in order for you to become like a pure and empty channel to actually be in sacred union with your genuine counterpart. Because we have to be empty. Like, that is the actual purpose of this path. Is like, if you think about like all instruments, like a guitar is hollow, a drum is hollow, a flute is hollow. It's like the purpose is we need to just become empty so that we can be conduits of the divine energies. So we often will meet soulmates and catalyst twins to activate this deep cleansing and deep purging of, very often, a lot of our woundedness, a lot of abandonment, a lot of guilt, and a lot of false programming that we've taken on from our society and from our parents and this 3D paradigm. So personally, I feel that the role of catalyst twins and soulmates is just as important as the genuine counterpart. But there is this phenomena where many people believe they've met their twin, but it's actually not their twin. Because I know when I'm doing sessions with people, when they start speaking about their genuine twin, there's like, straight away I start getting like full on goosebumps. I get chills at the back of their neck, and they start speaking to me. And what I've noticed in every single one of these sessions is that these people are not attached. When you've met your genuine twin, there is non-attachment. There is this absolute profound sense of trust in the divine, and there's such a maturity that comes with this connection, and knowing that, like, if it's meant to be in this lifetime, it will be, and God will make sure of that. But if it's not meant to be in this lifetime, then that is the divine plan, and that's okay. So what I say to people, like a bit of a test, like if you're really, really attached to someone and you believe that you will never ever experience happiness unless you're in union with that person, 99% chance that's not your genuine twin. Because with your genuine twin, there's just this spaciousness, there's this trust, there's this faith, and there's this maturity which is completely and utterly different from people that are, you know, with soulmates and catalyst twins.
And non-attachment.
Yeah, there's just this trust, like you just know, like and you don't question it. Like many people come to me and they're like, Jen, you know, is this my twin? And I'm like, you're questioning it. It's probably not. Like 99% not. Like if it's your real twin, you just don't question it. Like you just know. Just like I know you're wearing a blue shirt. I'm not gonna be like, oh, is Todd wearing a blue shirt today? Is he wearing? It's like, no, you're wearing a blue shirt. You know, that's what it's like. So if you're questioning it, it's probably not it.
Yeah. So you know this energy's. We say it every week, every day. I seem like I say it on these shows. It's coming in faster and faster every day. Yeah. It's all moving so quickly, you know. Yeah. I mean, what do you think this thing looks like as we get into it? You know, even in the next few weeks. What do you think? Well, just I don't know so much the event, but just it seems that, the energy. I mean, our senses are more enhanced. Some of us are. Yeah. You know, having multidimensional experiences, you know, all the different things, however you want to describe it, transmissions, downloads, channels, whatever you want to say. There's something happening. It's getting so loud that it can't be denied or ignored. And it seems to move very fast, you know, quantum. So I'm just, you know, I'm sitting here just from my own personal curiosity with your background. What do you think that looks like in 6 weeks? Are we teleporting? You know? I
hope so. I mean, we're all about ready for this solar flash event. But I mean, my spirit team, they said to me, I just want to let your readers know, your listeners know a little bit of my background as to why I created this group called The Event Is Happening, because I never had a clue about there was going to be an event. I just thought there's the ascension of Gaia is just going to happen in a very gradual way and there isn't going to be an event. I never ever thought that for 1 minute. But then last year I went for a little walk outside my house. I was walking around and then lo and behold, my spirit team came in. I have a very, very strong spirit team, and they said to me, Jen, there's going to be an event and there's going to be loads of light is going to come to the earth, and all those people in their 3D jobs who haven't got a clue about anything spiritual, their third eye is going to blast open. They were like, it's going to happen, it's going to be happening soon, you need to know that, you need to let people know about that. And the main thing that these brothers and sisters are going to need when they wake up is music. They're going to need spiritual music. They're going to need the chanting of God's name, and they're going to need medicine music. So because I'm a musician, and my spirit team were like, you really have to be focused now on getting the music out there for when the masses wake up. So I was like, whoa, I didn't know anything about an event. Like, it was such a strong message that they gave me. And then I went home that day and I made a YouTube video and I was like, blah, 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 twin flame this, twin flame that. And then about half an hour into the video, I was like, oh, guys, by the way, my spirit team, they came in and they said to me that there's going to be an event. And then the minute I said the word event, this absolutely almighty light came into my living room and it completely and utterly subsumed my face. And all of these lights started flashing in my room. And I was like, holy macaroni. Like, this is validation.
Holy macaroni.
This is validation. Do you know what I mean? So
I've actually heard that same description through a transmission by two other divine feminines, and I can't recall who they are right now, but I know that I've heard it, and it felt exactly the same in terms of what you were explaining and what I was seeing with it. So I don't know, I don't know. So much of what we receive is metaphoric, in a sense. And so I don't know. That's why I'm curious. I'm just curious by nature. Like, what's this going to look like,
Yeah. So I'll just go on to,
Go ahead.
I'll just go on to, so that they told me that, and then I kind of put it on the back burner, and I was just getting on with my life and whatever, and I had to move house and this, that, and the other. And then I literally had never heard about the event. The only place I'd heard about the event is from within my own consciousness. And about 2 or 3 months later, a friend of mine on Facebook she wrote, has anyone heard about the event? And I was like, I've heard about the event. And then she sent me this video of this woman who channeled her son who had passed over. And he was giving her all this information about the event, about the solar flash event. And then this led me down this rabbit hole. And it took me to Alison Coe and QHHT and all of this information. And then all of a sudden it was like, and then I was led to Corey Good, and I realized that David Wilcock had been talking about it. And then lo and behold, I was like down the very, very deepest kind of like end of the rabbit hole with it. And then I knew I had to create a Facebook group. So it was like, you have to create a Facebook group. I didn't know it was going to be a page or a group. And then I was like, okay, it's got to be a group. And so I just, one day, I didn't even know what I was going to call it. And I just clicked create group. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to call it the event is happening, because I know that we may as well just affirm that it's happening. Do you know what I mean? So I just went, the event is happening. And I already had following from my twin flame work. And then literally, Todd, we've had like 500 people joining like every single day. Like sometimes we get 1,000 people joining a day. And it really is like the most amazingly phenomenal group. And all of these people that find us have received information about the solar flash event. So it's like we've created this really, really exceptional 5D community where people are just really, really loving and really, really deeply supporting each other. And people are coming in at different levels of their awakening. And we're just massively supporting each other to come into full awakening. And I'm sort of I am captain of the ship, and I run a very, very tight ship. But I'm putting in all of my years of like being really holding an impeccable space within my own vibration, and then just kind of like transferring that into the group, and it's really, really powerful. So so obviously I've gone into massive depth about like the event and stuff, but what I am being shown is that, you know, that the Earth is moving into alignment with Galactic Central, and obviously it's in alignment with all these photon light particles, and as it comes more and more in alignment, depending on our frequency, the collective frequency, because they're not going to send it to us until we're ready to be able to handle that responsibility of that much love and light.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I'm being shown, that there is going to be a solar flash event.
Well, yesterday there was a lot of trouble with the internet in the early part of the day.
Really?
There was, and to me, I felt a very palpable wave come in.
Yes.
Some other people I know did as well, and you know, that to me was almost like a physical experience.
Yes.
So I can only imagine that we're getting little doses before this one big one comes. You know?
Yeah, that's what I've been shown, that we're getting these preliminary waves. These small waves are hitting, and it really, really peaked at the time of March, which is the time that the group was created. And then we definitely got the strongest waves. And then since then, we've just been getting, you know, they're coming on different portal points. But my spirit team have showed me that equinox, the 22nd of September, that's going to be like unprecedented. The wave that's going to come in September, apparently it's going to be that no one's going to be able to deny it. There will be shifts. There'll be actual shifts that are going to be taking place. That's what my team showed me. But they also said about the Lion's Gate, they gave me an interesting message about the Lion's Gate. They said everything up to the Lion's Gate has been the rehearsal, and they said that Lion's Gate is showtime.
Oh wow, that sounds good. Let's see what we're made of.
Yeah, and that really resonated. I was like, yeah, because that so much shifted in the last Lion's Gate. It was huge.
Yeah, it is. I like that though. It's a rehearsal, because and I don't think that's, you know, doing it any injustice or disrespect, because I think we've done a lot of work. We've done a lot of internal work with these transmissions coming in, and people starting to talk about it and share the information and the frequency and the energy, just like you're doing with your group. You know, it's an extension of you, and then all these energies start working together they're coming from the same place. So, I mean, a big flash of love and light. I don't know what it would look like, how it happens. I don't know. You know, and what could that be? I mean, because we're not dealing with linear time, we're dealing with quantum. So that could be the equivalent of, you know, 3 months or, you know, 3 seconds. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, we just don't know. And I think the more that we can focus on becoming empty vessels, this really, really is the way forward. So just allowing that purging of all of the limited programming, you know, and that's really, really got to be the focus. And for the event, and also for the reunion with our twins, you know, it's really, really important that we do this spiritual work to become these empty vessels, so that when our divine counterpart comes into our field, we're not going to be projecting You know, we're not going to be projecting all of our woundedness, and I mean, there will be probably still some residues, but for the most part, there will be this, you know, experience of being an empty vessel. And I think for all of us, and so that's my work, is really, really supporting everyone in the group to become these empty vessels, you know, so that we can be channels of the divine.
Yeah, and you're talking about the inner work, you know, and the we used to call shadow work, right?
Yeah.
You know, and that's really the biggest contribution we can make to the collective consciousness, you know, degree of elevation or expansion or ascension is through ourselves. And that's what you do, right? That's what you help people with.
Yeah, I help people to identify their limited programming, all of the illusory programming that has been enforced upon us when we signed up and contracted to incarnate into the third dimension. We signed up to be part of this matrix, this artificial intelligence matrix, and my job is to enable or to be that mirror to people, for them to see that, like, are you choosing that limited belief? Like, because you're a sovereign being, and so if you believe that and you're choosing that, that is what you will experience. But you don't have to choose that, because actually we're free, and we're free to choose whatever thoughts and whatever beliefs that we wish. So a lot of my work is about empowering our sovereignty.
Yeah, I was, and it seems like when these energies come in, they come in like a truth bomb, like whatever it is that's true or not true, depending on if you're resisting the truth or you know, unknowingly resisting the truth, is it gets louder and louder. It gets louder and louder and louder, and so I mean, to me, like this description of this love and light coming in would almost be like, you know, anyone that wasn't aligned would probably go crazy. You know what I mean? Because the truth would be so strong.
Yeah, but I think our galactic brothers and sisters don't want that to happen. Like, they love us so much, and so I think that that's a reason why the group, you know, the agenda of the group has been created, is to create a really, really held and safe container for everyone that are going through their spiritual awakening, for them to be validated and for them to be held and for them to be loved, so that they can stay grounded. And I'm always, like, really, really reminding everyone about the importance of grounding and earthing and connecting with your grid point and walking bare feet on the earth and drinking lots of water and really, really staying in your heart and realizing that your mind is the egoic consciousness, and if we are attached to the temporary thoughts of our mind, then we just stay on this samsaric wheel where we don't really sort of like get any clarity or any downloads or anything like that. And so we have to, the greatest leap in this lifetime is from the head to the heart. You know, but the heart is a very, very quiet. It's always silent, and it's so beautiful. Like the voice of the heart is so beautiful and it's so exquisite that it's hard to believe that. You think, oh God, like, can I believe that this world is so harsh? Like, surely that's not the truth. But it is the truth, and that's the only thing that makes me any different to anyone else, is that I absolutely 100% believe and empower and validate that tiny little voice of my heart. That's the only difference. So I just encourage everyone to be attuned to that and to come away from this identification with the egoic mind.
So you said you're a musician?
I am, well? Yeah.
Do you play an instrument, or what do you do?
Yeah, I play a few instruments. I play keyboard, I play the harmonium, I play guitar, and I play the native flute.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I like the flute. I like all those instruments, but flute's nice. You got a flute handy?
Sorry?
You got the flute handy?
Yeah. Do you want me to play you a little song?
Yeah.
I often play music for my group. Okay.
That was good. That sounded Celtic.
Did it?
A little bit Celtic. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, had like that, like that you know,
Diddly diddly.
yeah, it's very cool.
Diddly 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 diddly. Yeah, so
So, getting back to the inner work, you know,
yeah.
there's another aspect that to me I'm starting to see come into play, and that's the creation aspect, the creation energy, the gifts that come with elevating. You know what I mean? The keynote awareness of what's happening and who you are, what we're doing. It's almost like walking into a dream state.
Yeah.
Where you're like, this is just like any other dimension. I just happen to have this different kind of consciousness, and I'm kind of going back to the regular consciousness.
Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
it's moving fast. It's moving fast. So
Yeah.
what do you think we can expect with you're talking about up through this September date, but even like through the next week with the Lions Gate and with the eclipse after that, and then I guess the next month's going to be that September date that you got, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that the energy waves are going to be building in intensity, and I think that for the very sensitive ones, we're going to be like really, really aware when a new energy wave comes, and I believe that they're going to carry on increasing in intensity. It will also, I feel, it will keep activating this deep purging because there is still quite a lot to purge. So I think going forward, everyone has to be like really vigilant with their self-care and not push themselves too much. If they're going through, like, you're clearing sort of like thousands and thousands of years of like false conditioning, so just to be really, really gentle with yourself and nurturing towards yourself. And if you love doing art, then do art, and if you like writing poetry, then write poetry, but just to be aware, like to really hold yourself and nurture yourself through this this next period. But I feel that as we get to September, I feel that there will be much more public disclosure. That's what my team are telling me. There's going to be a lot more shifts that are going to be taking place on the outer realms, because I'm definitely being shown that there is a dismantling going on, and very, very much a handover of sort of from the darkness to the light. In a way, the darkness has had control over the third dimension, and I feel that the light has reclaimed sort of like control in a way. So I feel that we're going to be getting more signs of this takeover, that this takeover is really happening. And so we're going to be seeing shifts, like good things, and suddenly it might be like, for example, all the homeless people in LA might get housed. I mean, I'm just putting an idea, and it won't be, it's because of disclosure. It's just somehow I feel that the heart consciousness is going to be more predominating within the collective. I actually think that America is going to be really, really on the front line of these changes. Actually, I do believe that, believe it or not. I think England still has a little bit way to go because of our government is not good. But I think that we're going to see shifts in America, actually. I think more and more people are going to awaken, have spontaneous Kundalini awakenings, because it's going to be really, really important that 144,000 way showers are stabilized in their 5D consciousness in order to be the lighthouses and the anchors for when the big solar flash event happens. Because when the solar flash event happens, like we're going to be the ones that are needed in our communities to look after people and soothe people and guide people. So I really feel that this preliminary period is going to be mainly focused on the way showers, of getting that collective like really, really stabilized.
And I do think that at some point there's going to have to be, and it looks like it's happening, some kind of public disclosure that's really got a worldwide impact. And I'm sure that that our galactic brothers and sisters are helping us and assisting us on putting that out in the literal sense. You almost want to say the 3D sense, the way I think that would make sense, because that would wake some people up that we might call asleep, who are just getting all this information in and so caught up in whatever they're doing, they're not totally getting it, but they're getting it somewhere. And I think that'll push some people over. But But I guess, like you said, we don't want anyone to suffer too much
That's
through
right.
this transition.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Todd, definitely. I think there is going to be a lot of shifts happening with disclosure. And I think that it's going to become more and more public knowledge that we are not alone in this universe. Like, it's just absolutely pathetic to think that we are alone in this universe when there's like there's a trillion stars. There's a trillion stars. Do you know what I mean? And we're the only life? I don't think so. So I think it's so obvious to the awakened ones, but I think that it's going to be trickled in, and it is already being trickled in. But I think there's going to be like an announcement that about that we are in contact.
Oh yeah,
that's going to be huge.
Yeah, and the real history of the earth, whatever. But I think for the most part, all this stuff is happening internally in each one of us, obviously. And it's really where the impact is. I think the global thing, the disclosure, is more of a reflection. I think it'll come out when we're ready for it based on the collective consciousness. But I do agree with you. Things are moving so fast that the anchors, the people that are in the anchor in this place is going to be real important. That grid is going to be real important. But it seems like more and more people are waking up to that now.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. And like, even my mum, it was so funny, like the day that, like, my mum isn't really on a spiritual path, but the day that I created the group, I didn't even tell her that I created the group. And I went and met her for lunch, and she said to me, she's like, Jen, I can feel something's changing. She said, there's something going on. There's going to be a light. This is my mum. She said, there's going to be a light that's going to come to the earth and change everything. And she said, and everyone's going to become a vegetarian. She said, I know this. I was like, Mum, I've just created a group about that precise subject.
I bet she was whispering so nobody would hear her.
She's just like, I can feel it. And it was so funny because it was in March when the energies, like, we had that peak. We had a really, really big spike in energies in March. And that day I met my niece as well, and she said, Auntie Jen, I just want you to know that my favourite film is Interstellar, and I love Interstellar, and it's about all these aliens coming to the Earth, and about the darkness and the light, and the darkness has to hand over their control back to the light. And she said, and then the Earth splits. And she said, and I've watched it 11 times. It's my favourite film. And she's 7.
Right. Oh yeah. They got it. They got it.
Yeah, they got it. I was like, oh my God, this was the day I created the group.
Yeah,
so it's happening. It's trickling in.
Do you ever perform? Do you ever go out and do public performances?
I don't perform because I'm like a sacred musician. So I play kirtan. I play like bhajans and kirtan. So it's not performing, but I play music. I play music for many people. But like, it's not me performing. It's just me playing music.
What, do you ever do any public speaking?
Yeah, I do public speaking. Yeah, I love doing that. I'm open to more, calling in more opportunities actually to do some more public speaking, because that was my message from Spirit. They were like, because I have a really strong online presence, but they're definitely wanting me to more go out there into the world and sort of like share my music and just actually meet people. And so, yeah, I'm calling that in. I am calling that in, more opportunities to speak.
So are you in Glastonbury?
Yeah, I'm in Glastonbury, yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of, I've got a few friends over there in Glastonbury.
Oh, really? Who do you know?
Amanda Lawrence and Des Greenwood, Greensoul.
Amanda Lawrence, who does the energy reports.
Yeah, Amanda.
Does she live in Glastonbury?
Yeah, she lives right by the. She lives right.
That's amazing! Oh my God, you should hook us up. I'd love to meet her.
Yeah, she's incredible. She's incredible.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really cool.
And there's a few other people over there that I know. I just can't remember who they are.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for my light body to kick in so I can have a memory. Yeah. So let me ask you this. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'd love to have you back. This would be cool. It's really nice to integrate audiences, and that's what Soulgy is. Soulgy is it's a platform for people like you particularly the divine feminine energy that's coming out and being heard. So yeah, if you ever want to, if you're doing anything and you want to expand the awareness of it, we've got a pretty good network. Just send me a message and I'll put it out through the network.
Thanks, Todd. Can I? Oh yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say before I forget. So from this point forward, what advice would you give anyone, especially those that are just starting to understand what's happening as we move into these higher and higher energies? On a personal level, what advice would you give them?
I would say that you need to be committed to raising your vibration, and you have to realize that the artificial egoic construct has kept us all at quite a low vibration and has kept us very much identified with our thoughts and our temporary emotions. And so I think you need to commit to raising your vibration. And so the way that the tools that I found to raise my vibration that I share with everyone in my groups and stuff is really commit to the practice of gratitude. Gratitude is probably one of the most powerful tools that we have on the spiritual path, because not only are we feeding those positive experiences and things in our life, actually in that moment where we're focusing on that which we are grateful for, it's like we're taking back the reins from our egoic consciousness, because we're saying, well, I am choosing to focus on this. I, as a sovereign being, am choosing to focus on something that I'm choosing to focus on, because most of the time our ego is just pulling us into all these dramas and these stories and these timelines, and it's like we're just kind of like slaves and we just get dragged along. And so just by the very act of choosing to be grateful, you are empowering your sovereignty, and that is what it's all about. I would also say it's very important to have a spiritual practice. My spiritual practice is that whenever I remember, I just stop thinking. I just jump off the thought train and I prioritize present moment awareness over all thoughts, no matter how fascinating and brilliant the thought is. And I have absolutely fascinating and brilliant thoughts, but no matter whatever they are, I prioritize actually bringing my awareness to the present moment. This is my spiritual practice. This is this tool that has accelerated my ascension probably more than any other tool, and it's very, very simple, and it will lead you to enlightenment.
I love what you said. I've never heard that put that way. So you have these great ideas, all these epiphanies, these 5D. I mean, you're up here in this other frequency, but you're not present. And I was guilty of that for a long, long time. I think that's a really good distinction to say my priority is this present moment, to this consciousness that's most conscious.
That's right. And that is full self-mastery. When you commit to being present in the present moment, you are aligning with your highest Christic timeline of self-mastery. But the thing is, you have to train yourself. It's like you have to, this is my life practice. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to be present for a few months and, it's like, no, for the rest of your life. Like that has to be your spiritual discipline. This is a discipline. And then if you commit to that discipline, you will experience clarity and joy and bliss like unlike anything you have ever known, and actually and you're calibrating your consciousness to the 0 point field, and the 0 point field is the present moment, and it is where all timelines converge. And we've been sort of like programmed to believe that time is linear, but time is not linear. Time is circular, and all timelines operate concurrently within the present moment. And so this is how we activate our multidimensionality, is by being in the present moment. And in the present moment, you can then choose as a sovereign being which dimensional frequency you're going to be attuned to.
Yeah. Another way I think to say that I see it visually is if you look at where we came from, where were our thoughts? Because it really doesn't matter if your thoughts are up here with these great ideas and epiphanies, or if it's somewhere in the future, when I get to this point, this is what's going to happen, and you're focused on that, or hung up on the past. It is another way to describe the ascension is, you're going to be forced into the present moment, and you can either resist it or you can kind of flow with it, because it's coming.
Yeah.
I saw a quote the other day. It said, the shift isn't happening because of us, it's happening to us. So we can be conscious of it, and like that Zen proverb says, let go or be dragged.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but yeah. So to me, these waves too, I mean, it's becoming easier and easier to kind of flow with them and ride them. And that seems kind of new too. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about we've all got to become like master cosmic surfers and somehow find a way to stay on the wave. And so my way of staying on the board is through my spiritual practice of being present, and also through the practice of gratitude. And so this is how we stay on the board. Otherwise, there is going to be challenges in life, and when we're triggered and when we're go through sort of like a deep purging gateway, it's easy for us to go into our story and to go into our trauma and our victim consciousness. And in that moment, then you're just like, you are off the board, like you have fallen in the board and you're drowning. But the whole idea is you want to stay on the board, you want to ride the cosmic waves, and so you have to develop a practice in order to be able to stay on the board. Yeah. So I hope this is helpful. I mean, it's helped a lot of people. If you take it on board, like, it will be helpful.
Well, I think that's, what I like about it is it's only two things. Okay. It's very easy to understand, right? So you stay in the present moment, and then you have a practice of gratitude. I mean, that makes it pretty simple. I think anybody could follow that and wouldn't need a lot of direction on how do you do it. It's pretty simple.
That's right. Absolutely.
Stay present. And like you said, that's the highest alignment you can have with your multidimensional aspect.
That's right. Absolutely.
Which is actually the perfect place for the human being to be. Just be present,
And that's how we connect with all our galactic brothers and sisters, is from the 0 point field, because they're just operating on higher frequency bands. And so we just, and that is how we connect with all of these higher dimensional realms, through being anchored and committed to the present moment consciousness. It really is the key to enlightenment.
Yeah. So are you doing anything special for the Lionsgate?
Yeah, I facilitate these online energy transmissions, and they're really, really powerful ceremonies, and I do them in the event group. And I've been doing this work for about 3 years now, so I have a really, really loyal, committed following. And this is how, I support myself and I'm able to do this work. It's open to donations, and so basically it's in a really, really powerful ceremony, and it's it's very, very intense. Like most of the people that do the transmissions, it's like doing a medicine ceremony, like a plant medicine ceremony. Is very, very powerful, and it will upgrade you, and it will fast track you on your spiritual path, definitely. So it's a very intense experience, and will definitely catalyze your ascension and your awakening. So that's going to be we'll put the link maybe to my website, so that if people are interested, they can sign up. But I normally have about 200 to 300 people at least that do these ceremonies.
Yeah. So tell me what day, what time is it?
So it's on the 8th of August at 8:08 p.m. UK time.
8:08. So that'll be 3:08.
Yeah. So 3:08 your time.
I'm gonna miss that one. I gotta Lisa Transcendence Brown at 3 o'clock on that day, which is 3:00. That's 3 o'clock. That's 8 o'clock your time. Is there a replay? I mean, is it a video?
Yeah, there's a replay. Yeah, many people can't actually make the live call, so it's just pinned to the top of the event page, and so many people just tune in after, and it's just as powerful. And actually, on the 8/8 transmission, what we're going to be focused on is that we're going to be focused on restoring the true love template, because Gaia was actually created to be a realm where Mother, Father, God's children could come and experience divine true love, and that was the realm that existed at the time of Lemuria up until the time of Atlantis. At the time of Atlantis, there was a lot of a lot of shit went down, for want of a better way of like saying it, at the time of Atlantis, and the frequency of Gaia dropped at that time. And at that time, what my guide showed me is that the true love template was actually handed over to the elemental realm, and the elemental realm have been guardians of this template. And so the 8/8 transmission is going to be, they're going to be handing it back. It's going to be a handover ceremony, because now the Earth's consciousness has reached a level of maturity that we are able to actually restore the true love template, which is the Garden of Eden template, back to the earth grid. And so we're going to be taking part in this phenomenal ceremony with all the fairy realms and the elves and the pixies and all the elemental beings, the fourth dimensional elemental beings. And it's just going to really, really help with the anchoring in of the twin soul unions, and especially with the divine masculine, because a lot of the divine masculines, they've given up on true love, because actually the third dimension has been a lot more challenging for the divine masculines as it has been for the divine feminines, because the divine feminines seem to have a robustness and a resilience that the divine masculine simply doesn't have. And so for many, the 3D paradigm has been excruciating for a lot of the masculines. And so, and I speak a lot about this in my work, but because of that, a lot of the divine masculines have given up on true love. They'll just be happy with a few crumbs. Like, life's so challenging, they'll be like, yeah, I'll have that karmic relationship, I'm never going to find my true love, I'll just take whatever crumbs life throws at me. Do you know what I mean? Because it's coming from that lack consciousness, which is quite prevalent within the masculine. So this particular ceremony is going to be very, very empowering for those codes within the divine masculine consciousness to come back online.
Wow. Yeah. I had a question, but I got caught up in your answer.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, something about men and how men have found life on the third dimension very excruciating.
No, I was going to make a joke about that. No, I mean, well, you know, because really can't. I don't know. I mean, I don't feel comfortable saying, but I just know that he got the hell beat out of him, because I had to rip all those shadows off, and I'm still doing my work like everybody else. But and you're a leader, Todd, within the divine masculine, because it sounds like, you're not afraid to be vulnerable and to share your vulnerability. And, and I think that that's such an important part of the healing for the masculine, is like, and especially men need to be having these conversations with each other about being much more open about their vulnerability and their struggles, and the fact that everyone's pretty much finding it really, really hard, like life on earth. Yeah. Well, if I hadn't had my counterpart, Morgan, if I hadn't had her for 3 years, I mean, I'm sure I would have got there, but I don't know. For me, in retrospect, the conditioning was so subtle, the effect of the patriarchal energy on the masculine, the human masculine, was a lot more than I thought. It was a lot more than I thought, until I surrendered to the feminine energy, which was really just about 12 days ago. I hit my knees and I said, I surrender. I surrender. Take it all, But something occurred at that moment. It was an acceptance of the feminine energy without any bullshit. I mean, just equal, absolute equal. And that removing, at the point where you're just like going, man, what am I? I ain't got nothing left. What am I? I've got nothing. Take it all. But I don't know. Hopefully we won't.
Thank you.
Well, it happened. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm thanking
the
divine goddess.
Thank you. Because you're setting an energetic precedence for the masculine consciousness in your surrender.
Yeah, and I think more and more men are doing that. I mean, I personally, I'm thanking the divine feminine, mother goddess energy, whatever you want to call it. And I say that, to the external, so to speak, but to the internal part of me, that presence is inside of me. So it's been an interesting journey, not always comfortable, but I had a good teacher. So are you in a divine union?
My divine counterpart is actually in a karmic relationship. He's been a very, very typical masculine who's given up on true love, and he just has been up for just accepting, the crumbs that life has sort of thrown at him. but we have had a breakthrough in the sense that he has actually recognized me now. But he's embroiled. But the thing is it is in divine timing. It is, of course, like this is divine timing at play. But I'm the kind of like, I'm in 0 point, I'm in present moment, so it's very, very rare for me to go into longing or lack, or I don't go into lack, but like, you know, in fifth dimensional consciousness, like all that exists is union, and there's absolutely no celebration. And so I'm, you know, we're very, very much anchored on 5D, and in divine timing, you know, I'm 100% sure it will manifest. But if it doesn't, like, that's God's will, and I really, really, I bow to God's will, you know.
Yeah, but like you said, that pure love frequency won't allow anything else. Anything that's not pure is going to separate. Anything that's built on illusion or whatever shadows is gonna crumble.
Well, yeah, that's what. Yeah.
I mean, it just is. That's just the way it is. You can't BS the universe. I mean, it's a perfect order. So
thanks, Todd.
This alignment is you know, ascension. Maybe that's a better word for it. Alignment. This 0 point alignment. This, you know, this is it's going to be incredible, but I can only imagine like magnets, like magnetism that, you know, like for instance, like in this example with you and him, that it's going to come together. There's no two ways about it. You know, sometimes I think it's almost like we're going backwards in time. If you look at it on a linear spiral level, we're almost like going back to our origination. So the two, you can't get to the one without going to the two. The two goes into the one. So how do you think you're going to go back into the, you know, it's like an inhale, exhale thing, back into the, I've really enjoyed talking to you.
Thanks, Todd. And that's really comforting words for me and for many divine feminines who have not quite come into union yet. And I feel that as well. But then I see him still with his karmic partner, and, you know, he's still wearing his ring. And I'm just like, sometimes I'm like, what is actually going on? Like, and then, but I know that he's doing his deep work because he recognizes me. He knows that I'm on the planet now, and he knows I'm his divine feminine. And this has massively accelerated his ascension. And what I've noticed is funny with my divine masculine is that because we've both, this relationship that he's in is not taxing for him spiritually, it's enabled him to like really, really focus on becoming an empty vessel. And so both of us have, like, in our own individual ways, just primarily been focused on becoming empty vessels. And because that has been our focus, now we've actually 3D merged. This is what's created the 3D merge. And now we're so in alignment, like everything that we're putting out, everything that we're saying, we're both teachers, we're both spiritual teachers. And it's like, we are literally like so aligned. It's like, we are just aligned. We are like bang on with everything, like every day to the hour. The messages that I'm bringing through, we're using the same language, we're using the same concept, we're using the same examples and there's so many examples of this 3D merge. So I've spoken about that in my last energy report, which I recommend people checking out on my website, Matahari G. But I speak about the importance of all twins, focusing on becoming empty vessels. Like, that's got to be the priority.
I mean, yeah, that in its own right would attract your partner, you know, your twin. I mean, just emptying it would naturally pull your vibration. What other vibration is going to come to you? You know, more kindred. Yeah, that's fascinating. This is all fascinating. Yeah, it's good talking to you. I enjoyed talking to you. I'm glad that we came together. I really am.
Me too, Todd. I've loved your insights. It's been really, really great hearing your divine masculine insights. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again.
Let's do it again. We'll do it again. There's so much.
I'm sorry. I was going to ask you, do you have any of your music like on YouTube or anywhere?
I do. I did a video. So this week, like, I'm a devotee. Like, I'm a Amma devotee and Babaji devotee and a Krishna devotee. So I've just come out of a 72-hour non-stop chanting of Hare Krishna for 3 days, which was like a really huge ceremony called Namyag. And so just when I came out of it, me and my best soul sister, we play music together, and I put my video up. We put a video up on YouTube, and we share our favorite chants. So yeah,
right.
I've got
I'd
stuff.
like to see that. Can you put that in? Yeah, can you put that in the comment section too? Or if you want to send your stuff to me on Messenger, and I'll put it out through the network.
Sure, yeah, I'll send you my. I've got some really, really beautiful comments from the about that video. But yeah, I'd love to share with you my music.
Yeah. And then I have a channel feed on this 24 hours, 7 day a week, 365 days a year. Thing that's materialized, and it just takes a little bit longer on the linear, but I'm putting you know, a tape together, like 24-hour tapes to plug in so it'll play by itself. So would you have a problem if I put some of your stuff on the channel feed?
No, not at all. I'm really, it's such a powerful vibration. Like, I'm just a servant of God, you know what I mean? I just want everything, like, to serve my brothers and sisters. Like, I am a channel. So yeah, I'm really, really happy for that, for those frequencies to be shared with everyone. Yeah, of
Very
course.
cool. Well, I'll connect you with Amanda, and
Connect me with Amanda. That would be amazing.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other ones over there too. But
if you remember, let me know. I can hook up, because I don't have many ascension friends in Glastonbury, believe it or not. A lot of people in Glastonbury are on different paths. They're kind of like, they're really on the goddess path, or they're on the devotee path. But I don't have very many people that I'm connected to on the ascension path. Yeah. So that would be wonderful.
Well, that's a good connection to have. All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for honoring us and sharing space. I'd love to do it again.
Thanks,
I'd love to collaborate with you. Yeah, it's a good energy.
Yeah, definitely. It's wonderful to meet you, brother.
Yeah, it's wonderful to meet you too. I'll see you later.
Thank you. Namaste. Bye.
Namaste. Bye. Peace out.
Bye. Peace out.